Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another live show. Good to have you here, joining live from wherever you're watching from. My name is John, and it's nice to be here once again. If you are joining in live on the live chat, do let me know in the chat where you're coming in from. I always like to see where people are watching from each time. I think I'm a little quiet today. I don't know why. I never change a thing, and yet somehow it always ends up different. So I'll just make some adjustments as we go on. But if you can hear and see me just fine, then do let me know in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that right here on my computer, and I can see it super clear if you specifically tag at here to record in there. I will appreciate that a lot because then I can really see it on my screen. I don't have to go looking for it within all that stuff. So be sure to tag here to record. Alrighty. Well, let me see where I was just showing this before the show started here, but Phil, thanks so much for becoming a member of the channel. Good to have you here. I appreciate it a lot. And Nicholas as well, friend of the channel and local event producer guy. Good to have you here as a member of the channel. Nice of both of you. If you haven't been here in a while, then things have changed a little bit from where they were before. For the next 30 minutes or so, we will hang out here on this live chat, live stream on YouTube. And I don't have a ton of things to chat about, so do throw your questions in on whatever pops up into your mind. If that's H2R Graphics, Gear, if it's just random ATEM production things, or something else you want to chat about, then today is the day to do that. So for the next 30 minutes, we're going to do that. Yes, Niels is right here. Hello, Monday peeps. And then after that, after those 30 minutes, we're going to go into the members only Zoom call. So this is pretty new. Well, we've been doing it for a few months now. Before, during, and after the show, we have a members only section where we hang out. So if you want the link to that call, which is currently happening. In fact, you can just about see in the background there. I think I didn't quite set it up fully today. I can fix it. Hold on. You can see me and you can see Randy as well in the background. And anyone else who joins that call, they're just popping in here and filling that little monitor in the background. So if you want that Zoom call link, then head over to Discord in the members only section, or you can head over to the community tab on YouTube and you'll see the Zoom link in there as well. Just join that. Join us in the Zoom call and we'll hang out after this live stream. Alrighty, is that all the business taken care of? I think so. People are watching along here saying, hopefully, the sound is very good. Okay, good. You can hear me. I never checked that. I assumed someone would tell me. Hello from Helsingborg, Sweden. Good to have you here, Nicholas. Hope you're doing well. Jared from Germany as well, Stuttgart. And hello from Turkey. Always good to see you here as well. Hello, H2R. Hello to you, Preston. Jacob as well from the Czech Republic. We got France tuning in. Germany, not the whole country, of course. South Korea, another camera channel, another great channel as well. 3 a.m. Good time to watch along. And Dripping Springs, Texas is online. I like that. We should start all the messages with, or finish them all with, is online. I'll keep that for next time. And I'm just making note of any questions that come in as well, so I can get to those after a short while. Thank you for the questions. Please do roll them in there. Like I said, we don't have a lot to chat about today, so I'm appreciating some questions come in, which is excellent. I'm just skipping through a lot of stuff here. Peter, good to have you here in Belgium. Sound is very good. Thanks for that. Gauze the video. And the sound level is 100% thumbs up. Thank you, Eric. Good to see you here as well. All right. That's enough hellos. Hello, Alex, as well. I missed some people. Apologies. But hello to everyone watching along. A question's coming in, which is great. Wood Turning Tool Store here wants to know, can you describe a use case for Dashmaster devices? I am not sure I fully get it. That's a great question. So one of the things that I'm going to make, I planned to make it this week, but I never got around to it, which was a video about Dashmaster 2K in general, and then specifically about the devices mode in that. I'm just making sure that I'm logged in here, which I am. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the device mode on Dashmaster 2K, let me just rework my screens here and then show you that. Okay, you're in SuperSource, good. So we have this devices mode, which lets you create a device and then show that device on a monitor. And so for me, what I intend to use this for, among other things, is to open this URL on a Raspberry Pi. In fact, I have a few right here with me today, because I guess I can get to that too. So my plan for Dashmaster devices would be to load up 3 of these Raspberry Pis with Dashmaster device links. So the beauty about the Dashmaster device mode is that it's not just a dashboard, but you can send any of your dashboards to that device, which is quite cool. So my plan would be to load up 3 of these devices in the rack back here, and then on those I can go to that URL that I have on my dashboard here, and then I never have to touch this again. It'll just boot up and show that URL, and then from there I can choose from this computer what I want to see on that dashboard. So for example, during my live stream, maybe I want to send the live chat to one of these screens back here. Or maybe whenever I'm actually producing an event for somebody, I could show some more statistics on there instead. I'm trying to think of good ideas now while I'm chit-chatting about this live. But that would be a use case for the Dashmaster 2K devices, where you don't want to go and keep messing around with a Raspberry Pi or something like that. Another good use case actually would be for digital signage during an event. For example, if you had a conference and you had TVs all around the building, and you know that every day you're going to have to change what's on those TVs, well, instead of going to each TV and mess around, as long as they're connected to the internet, you could, from your laptop, just decide what screen is going to be on that screen, what the dashboard is going to be on that screen each day. So that's another way to do it. Alrighty, I think that answered your question about a good use case from the devices. And if anybody else has any more, be sure to throw them in there. Julian, good to have you as a member of the channel as well. I appreciate it a lot. I'm going balloons heavy today on the chat, so it's nice to have plenty of people coming in and being a member of the channel. Thanks for that. Felipe, thanks for the question here. Just wonder why you dropped H2R Logger. That is a great question. I don't even know if I have an image anywhere of. Oh, I do. You know, I should really take this off the website. I keep wondering why people keep asking me for this product, because I haven't actually done anything on it for a long time. And I thought I removed it from the website, but I clearly did not. That's why people keep asking me. So I should probably remove it. But this is one of those products that I built in the early days of my development cycles. And the idea here being that, for me, the idea actually was, I would bring this tool, and I would bring a couple of cameras, which is being denoted here by this wide camera, a close-up camera, and anyone familiar with Blender will remember this little monkey head here, or chimp head, I guess. Or no, it is a monkey, isn't it? It doesn't matter. And then the laptop. So what I would do whenever I'm out at a job is I would set up my laptop. Let me get rid of that. It's distracting me. I would set up my laptop with this application on it. I would record in my cameras, and I would record the presenter's screen all separately. And then I would click on my application to cut between the cameras. And I wasn't really doing a multicam edit or anything like that. It was just like a simulation in my head. So I knew when to cut to each device up close. And then later I could just, let me see, do I have, oh yeah, I'm still showing you that. I could, is it here? Yeah, I could easily turn all of these into an output file, which whenever brought into Final Cut Pro would actually give you a multicam edit like this. So that was the idea. And it in general was kind of like a pre-version of what the ATEM logging built-in functionality in the smaller ATEMs became. I mean, obviously it wasn't in any way connected, but that was one of the reasons why I kind of was happy enough that I stopped making this application, because with all of those functions built into the ATEM, it kind of made sense to use that instead. Another reason is that I didn't end up using it all that much eventually whenever I started bringing like smaller ATEMs and stuff. So I built it initially to avoid bringing any hardware other than the cameras. And then once I got to the point where I had sort of ATEM minis or smaller ATEMs like that, suddenly it didn't make any sense. If I went to a big conference, it didn't make any sense. So it just wasn't something I personally needed. And a lot of the tools that I build are often just things that I personally need. So therefore, it's hard for me to keep on top of them if I'm not constantly using them. Like this live stream for the graphics and stuff. It's one of the reasons why, thanks Julian, why I like to keep doing this live stream is because I get to keep using this graphic software, and then I get to keep learning about ways I can make it better. Those are 3-4 reasons why I stopped making it. Though I do get like an email every month now asking, is this still available? Can I get in on it? And does it work with the ATEM? So I've been thinking about trying to resurrect it a little and polish it up. But I think in general, people are quite interested in a product like that. It just might not be, it's not quite as ready to go as I would like to be. I think I need to start over and rethink it from scratch. Andre, good to have you here. Hello, hello. Wow, lots of questions. I love it. Nicholas, wondering, anyone tested running QLab 5 with the new NDI tech to a live stream video production? I haven't personally. Maybe someone else in the chat will come in and say yes. I tend to use QLab very infrequently, and often it's on other people's computers, like a computer of yours, Nicholas. I've used computers that you personally, well, maybe not personally, but your company owns with QLab on them, I think, and other vendors just like yourself, or people in the industry just like yourself. So those are the ones I use, and whatever's installed on those is the version that I use. Another camera channel. I like your sign in the background. Is it 3D printed or some sort of extruded metal? It is 3D printed. Let me get one of the letters. I showed this off a little bit last week. Actually I have an overhead camera. Let me see if this will do me any justice. Yes, good. So I grabbed these letters from Thingiverse. So I just did a quick search on there for 3D printed letters, and this is the one that popped up. Is that in focus? Which button is focused? Don't press the wrong button. Yes, good, right button. So the idea for these is that you would print. They also come with a cap that you print as well, and you put that on there. But I thought the letter itself would catch the light nicely, so I did show these off a bit last week. They're really nice. I really like them, and the idea is that you would then create all the letters that you want, build the cap on front, and then maybe put something inside it. And then one of the things we joked about last week, which I still want to do actually, is we joked a little bit about putting some lighting in here, and then maybe letting like members decide for how long that lighting, or what color that lighting is. So that is something I would still like to do. It would take a little bit of effort, and I never seem to get around to that sort of effort, but I would love to do that. So that is the H2R in the background. I love it. I want to do more fun 3D printing stuff. In fact, while we are talking about the Dashmaster devices that we talked about earlier, a small update on my other product, rack mountable Raspberry Pis. So I've shown this off a few times now, and it's still a very slow piece of work. So this is a design I took from Thingiverse, which was a rack mountable Pi holder. So it's like a two-parter. It's got a little tray that you attach the Pi to, and then you slide that into this little, holder, and then you can perfectly fit 6 of these side by side, which is 19-inch for a rack, so I can mount that behind me. So my idea would be to take 3 of these, like we talked about for the Dashmaster stuff earlier, and then have 3 segments, which would be a Pi segment like this. And then I wanted to do 3 segments, which would be the holder of converters. So like these bi-directional converters, or even just like a HDMI to SDI. Since all my system back there is all SDI based, I need to convert the Pis into SDI to get into that system, right? So I need to use converters like this. So I started the process of designing. I don't know where I put the first one, but this is iteration number 2, where I could put a little lip here, and then the converter could fit in there like that, which worked nicely, but you can see here it really moves around a lot. So I think in the last week, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I printed this one instead. And now the converter actually doesn't slot in as easy as it did before. It takes a little bit of effort to get in there, but once it's in there, it's pretty nicely secure. Now, I wouldn't go throwing this in an airplane anytime soon without fastening it down or using a different method. But for my use cases, even with some movement around, it's not going anywhere other than just slightly wiggling. So it's been really nice to have that. So I'm kind of, having some fun with it. So this is the third iteration of the design. I made some small improvements to make the printing a little bit better. You can see on my previous version here, there was a stringy mess where the print was unsupported, but I just made a little adjustment to that, and I think I have all the pieces now I need to mount it in my rack, except for this design specifically has like a long sort of screw that goes all the way through all the pieces to keep them together. I need to get that somehow, or I'll come up with something else. I don't know if I can be bothered going to some random shop and figuring that out. Overhead camera for the win, says Eric. Yeah, I always forget that I have it. Jeremy wants to know, can you go over your audio setup? Yes, definitely. This is a setup that I've wanted to make some sort of content about for a while because I'm really happy with it, but I haven't gotten around to that yet. Let's see if the overhead camera does me any justice here. I'll try not to break everything by pulling. Okay, how did that go? Was that a good test? The classic, I'll try not to break anything, is the last thing I said. That's so funny. I'm glad at least I noticed that it happened and it didn't just keep talking. I've done that before. I just keep talking and then it doesn't work. Okay, well, we're not going to move anything for this audio walkthrough, but basically that's hilarious. Microphone connects to a Behringer Flow 8, which is just off the desk here. Now, I would pull this into the shot. I would happily do that for you, but we know what happens when I do that, so I won't. And then that was the power switch that's too short, by the way. And then the audio, is there any point in even answering the question? The audio goes from there into the ATEM over some XLR cables into TRS. That's funny. Okay, good test. So now I know how to shut down the audio if someone ever comes in here and starts screaming curse words. I know what to do to kill the audio fast. Yeah, I love this. Famous last words. I actually might not have noticed that it went off, only for the fact that I have a speaker here, and it popped whenever it lost the connection there. Don't stress that cable. Yes, it is a fantastic audio kill switch. Okay, we're back. Thanks, Jeremy. I'll give you a hard time. I know you're in the members only call, so you're going to get a hard time about that question whenever we go into the members only call in about 10 minutes. High Five Pictures wants to know, will you implement an option in the XML generator to have a primary and secondary streaming link? Oh, that's a good idea. Is that even possible? If it is possible, I could do that. Could you send me an email about that? And I can put that on my to-do list. I will forget after the show. I'll forget to write that down. But send me an email about that and I will have a look into it. Yeah, of course, because YouTube has multiple URL links, so I could do that as well. Yeah, that is possible. So yeah, send me a message about that though, or an email, please, and it will remind me to do it. I know I'm giving you more work, even though you've just asked me a nice question. That sounds good. Another camera channel says, I'm retiring my companion Pi, so this could be a good use for it. Oh yeah, for the Dashmaster stuff, right? I want to make sure I get up with all of these questions before we go in here. Hello from Portadown, New Ireland, Northern Ireland. Joined a little late, catching up at 1 times speed. Okay, Tim, good that you can keep up with my accent at 1 times speed. I think you're probably the only person watching who could manage to do that. Grant says, any general advice on cooling a portable rack? Got a fan unit already planned, but I'm unsure how to be confident that that'll be enough for the gear that's going into the rack. I set my time off to be a bit too fast there, so it disappeared. One thing I never really got into was cooling portable racks. I always found that the cooling systems that you can buy are either really deep, so they get in the way of small racks, or take up too many U heights, so they got in the way of other equipment. A lot of the kit that I was building is always like 4 to 6 U's, so dedicating a couple of U's to fans was never something I wanted. But one of the things I really like these days that people are building, and have been for a long time, are whenever you build like a custom patch panel with a fan built into it. I really like those. And that way you can dedicate some space in an already couple of U height patch panel that's custom made, nicely printed. I have a few examples. I don't know if I have any that I can share, but I have a few examples of something along those lines that I really like. So that would be one direction to go, but it might not get you enough cooling speed, or cooling capacity, so I'm not entirely sure. Maybe some people in the chat have some good answers as well. Raul wants to know, if you want to record one camera to the HyperDeck, do you connect it directly to the HyperDeck and loop it to the ATEM? That is exactly how I would. Well, there'd be a couple of ways to do it, depending on what ATEM you have. If you have some extra outputs, then I would put it into the ATEM and then loop one of those, dedicate those into the HyperDeck. So that's something I do here. My ATEM Constellation, which is just behind my laptop here, it has 12 outputs, and one of those is able to loop into my HyperDeck, and then I can send any feed I want into that. But you could, in theory, loop through the HyperDeck at first if you don't have enough outputs on your ATEM to do that. So it could definitely work. The first layer says, I'm digging using H2R Graphics, but I can't figure out the YouTube chat. Good question. So one of the things I would point you in the direction of is the documentation. Let me see if I can get this up here. Yes, it's very bright lights. So in here, I have this YouTube live chat section here, which documents how to make this happen for adding it to your project. So I can pop that in the chat, and then you can take a look at it. And if you still can't figure it out, or it still doesn't work the way you think it should work, that's no problem at all. Just give me a email anytime, and I get back to all these emails and walk people through things all the time. So just do that. I'm happy to help. Docs. I'm just going to post that link in the chat there. If you're still around, then you can check that out. And Gert wants to know, is there any good way to record with the ATEM ISO and add markers on the go so that these markers are visible in the resolve file? Not within the ATEM. There's no way to do that currently. It would be cool if you could dedicate a button or even a macro of some sort to record a marker, but they don't allow for any of that stuff, unfortunately, which is a real shame. So there's no way right now. If you were to use the tool like H2R Logger, then that could be possible. Not that I ever supported Resolve, but it could be possible. But if you're already in the ATEM ISO world and you're using its Resolve file maker, then it would be really nice to see markers in there. So I would say maybe pester them a little bit over in the Blackmagic area to fix some of that stuff. Cool. So I did have one thing I was going to chat about today, and we kind of breezed past that because of all the great questions. So thank you for those. But there's two things I've been having some fun with this week, and I'm not sure if you have been checking them out yourself, but you definitely should if you haven't. So the first one is over at let's see, chat.openai.com, which is, I know this is a little off topic, but I'm going to make it on topic at some point here. So this is one of those funky chat, AI powered or machine learning powered chat services. And the idea here is, before you could ask it to do things like OpenAI being a company that does all these kind of tools, you could ask the OpenAI other tools to just make me a sentence based, or make me like a paragraph based on this sentence, or expand upon this point a little bit. But what's really interesting about this new chat version is, and actually let me just throw a link to that in the chat so you can go sign up if you haven't already. I apologize in advance because you're gonna spend so much time on this. I'm sure of it. The OpenAI chat. Okay, there's a link in the chat now. So here is some stuff I've been messing around with. So for example, whenever I make a video now, I get that video transcribed so that I can post that transcription on my website or use it for captions and stuff like that. So for example, this is the video I made for the mix effects, touchscreen stuff, and I have gotten that transcribed here, and I'll just copy that transcription out, and now I have it in my clipboard. And then in here, I can just say like, here is my transcription. You can probably do this different ways. I like to talk to it like it's a real person. It's more, I find it better that way, because then it doesn't feel so AI. So I like to chat with it, but you can probably be less specific. Also, this is currently in, I don't know if it's entirely in beta, but at least depending on how much load it's under, it can take a long time to reply. So I have previously done this in advance if it doesn't work out in the next few seconds, which it doesn't seem to be. Okay, screw that. So I'll go to, here's one I previously did. So I pasted in the transcript of my video, right? And this is all the text from that. And it just said, okay, very good. That's what you're talking about. And so I asked it, can you just turn this video transcript into a blog post? And then it has taken that previous transcript that I sent it and just extracted a lot of the useful pieces from it on the fly and turned it into this really nice blog post. And then I got lazy and I said, well, can you just add some, helpful titles to this blog post? And it says, sure. It talked back to me, so that's why I talked to it. Here's a revised version. So now I have a title of my post. I have it all in paragraphs and in subheadings, ready for me to copy paste onto my website. What's really interesting about it, obviously, is that I fed it with some data, so it knows all of the spelling, the capitalizations like Mix Effect Pro here. It knows what all these tools do because it's got some, I don't think it's got the latest internet information, but it certainly knows a lot of information up until 2021, I think, was what I heard. Interesting. So now the reason I brought this up is because I've been using it more for other purposes. So here, for example, is a new article that I just posted today on, I know it does say October, but I just posted this today on my H2R Graphics website, which a lot of this work has not been done by me, but by the AI, which is really nice. So I can tell it, like, here's an outline for a blog post that I'm thinking of writing, or that I think people would find useful. Sort of just do some of the work for me, and it does that. And again, the reason I thought I would bring this up is because I think it's a very good use case for your video production company's website, where you think you have some ideas for some like blog posts that maybe you'd like to have on there. Like, here's some tips on preparing for your next event. But you sit down and you start to try and write this blog post and you just kind of give up within minutes. That is something I do all the time. And Neil says, as a former journalist, this offends me. Yeah, I'm not saying in any way that this is a good direction, but it certainly re-inspires you to get back to making some content, to try and see that growth. I mean, a lot of this kind of blog posty kind of stuff is all about the SEO links SEO keywords. So sitting down and writing or getting someone to write you a post cramming SEO keywords into that is never a fun thing either. But yeah, I can see why you'd be bothered. Eric says, can the ChatGPT GPT do video editing? Unfortunately, not yet. I wish it could do that. I would get it to do a lot of stuff for me. And I see a few people here. Yeah, Aaron having way too much fun with this on Friday. It is a rabbit hole for sure. I agree. And unfortunately, I have another rabbit hole for you, because then I started playing this weekend with Midjourney. Now, I heard this term come up a few times, but I never actually played with it until this weekend. So Midjourney, M-I-D Journey. In fact, maybe I'll just post a link to that in the chat just in case it isn't something that you've used before. I think it's on midjourney.com. No. Maybe? That the website is not very anyway, I'll skip the link for now. I think that's the website, but it definitely feels very yeah, it is that. Okay. Discord, cool. I want to post a link just so you know what I'm actually saying. This is fun. Okay, so the idea here being that you post a prompt to it. So you join a Discord server, and then you get thrown into a Discord channel, and you post a prompt to that Discord channel, and in return, it will create a unique image based on that prompt. So, for example, I was playing this week with it, and I'm trying to be careful about showing the Discord too much, just because there's some random stuff on there, and it's not, yeah, some weird random stuff on there. So for me, I wanted to just get like a laptop technical kind of stuff. A rack case. I wanted it to be isometric, volumetric lighting. I like that kind of 3D render style. So what I got in return was this. A really funky looking. Now, if you look from far away, you could just say, yeah, this looks like. You can see where I might use this, like H2R Gear. This would be perfect on the landing page. H2R Gear, pack all your equipment. Maybe on a blog post about like packing well for jobs. I got these 4 images by typing in the prompt that I mentioned earlier, and then if you dig in a bit closer, you can see like, yeah, I guess it is kind of like a case with some wheels. You're kind of like, well, what's this weird wheel going on here? I'm not sure. You get really close to some things, like, let's see, yeah, like these cables here. You start to wonder, what in the world is this thing I'm looking at? It's just absolute nonsense, but that's okay. From afar, you get the sense of something is happening. For example, if I go back over to my blog post that I talked about earlier, it all fits together, because the image for this blog post, even though it's tiny, you'll never really see it that well, but it is, what I typed in was like maybe like a retro style OB truck with monitors and lots of buttons. And you can see here, like on the stream, it actually probably looks fairly good. If you get real close, you can see like what is happening on this monitor. I have no idea. It's not because of pixelation, it's because it doesn't know. Keyboards, it really struggles with, it just kind of mangles those together. But you can see from afar here, as I get pretty far out on this page, it looks pretty good. So I'm hooked. I'm basically hooked. I've spent much too much time on this. I was looking for, let me see, I'll just give you a few more examples here. Like live streaming equipment built into a container. So this has got like a nice little arty way of presenting. I know this is really off topic for this live stream, but I know that if you like this kind of geeking out on equipment, then you'll probably like this geeking out on AI and machine learning and random imagery stuff. So this is like a container, a 3D style container with isometric proportions in a dark lighting environment, and it's got like the essence of video equipment. Again, you look too closely, you'll see like, yeah, I don't know, it's questionable, some of the details in there, but it's super fun. I'll wrap it up with one last one and then check out the comments just in case I'm missing anything over there. So today I try to go a bit outside of that, and let me see, do I have any more here? Some of them are super creepy, so I don't even... Yeah, okay, this is a good one. So the final one I'll show you today is, I said Elgato Stream Deck, but it has 128 buttons, and this is what it's... this is what it produced for me, which is from a distance. It's sort of like, yeah, I can see that being a product. You get a bit closer, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I don't know what it's trying to figure out here. Like this, for example, is a really interesting idea. A bunch of it almost looks like a PTZ controller or something. I quite like this one though. Like very solid looking buttons, a really interesting little action row here that you could configure a certain way. And then this last one, you can see it's much more Stream Decky, but it's super fun. So again, another slightly off topic chat, but I think general geekery is pretty fun. So why even bother talking about this stuff? Well, I guarantee that if you are doing this kind of stuff and you have a business, maybe one or small person teams, and you're trying to produce content either visually or maybe just even placeholder content just to put somewhere while you build out some new website for your company, you will love playing around with this stuff. I've had a great time. Yes, I'm finding it very useful. I'm really enjoying it. Yes, Neil says for technical documentation, you give it a try too. Absolutely. I would like to lean on it, this kind of stuff, heavily for at least pushing you in the right directions for things. Are you going to have this made for your YouTube thumbnails? As I've shown today, almost everything I've made so far, I love at a distance, and then I get close and I hate it. Or, well, not hate it. I dislike it. So I don't think it's there yet for like a up close thumbnail detailed, but you might see me throw it in well, actually me and Lucas have some very fun ideas for Dashmaster related branding imagery, which you probably will see, and I'll share when the time comes. So I don't think it's ready for that yet. Sorry, MMs wants to know, have you used the GPT to help with programming? Yes, I have. So I haven't found it to be useful for programming just yet, and maybe that's just the way I've been finessing it. But in the pre-show with the members, which I will be heading to any minute now, I know this is dragged, or I'm going on and on, but one of the things I asked it to do today was, can you give me the CSS for a glowing animation that pulses every so often? So that was what I inputted, right? Which you can probably just about see on the stream there. And then what it gave me back was actual valid CSS that actually, whenever I opened that exact code in here, give me this effect. Now, we did some changes to it in the pre-show, but this is like a neon glowing text, and I asked it to make one of the letters do something different, which is what it's doing there. Like I said, it needs some finessing. You could take this off. I wouldn't, throw this into H2R Graphics tomorrow, but maybe, I guess I wouldn't throw it in there today, but maybe tomorrow, whenever I've fixed this letter so it doesn't do what it's doing, it's looking pretty good. Like there's not that much wrong with the code it spits out. And what's really cool about the chat version is that I asked it to do something, and then I said specifically update the CSS so that the W flickers. And what it does is it now gives you the same CSS, and then it actually adds a new selector here with a new set of keyframes for the flicker of that one letter, and gives you the new information to tell you how to use it, which is amazing. So I'm blown away by how cool it is. I really like it. Thanks, Carl. Hit the like button if you are tuning in and love this kind of stuff. I can talk more about this in another show for sure. I might end up talking a lot about it if I use it a lot more for things. Is this real? Is that real? Yes, it's all real. Which is really fun. Okay, cool. So I flew through lots of questions, and I also managed to show off some random stuff as well. Testing the new Stream Deck with the new hardware on it. Not yet. I have not tried that myself. I would love to get my hands on one, but I couldn't see anything out there. Yes, Eric, valid CSS actually works 100%. Like I said, I copied the CSS that they give me. I copied into CodePen, and it ran, and it worked wonderfully. So maybe I should get ChatGPT to update the H2R Logger. That's a good idea. I might just do that. I'll just tell it to write me a full application. It's interesting. I got it to try, and I was trying this weekend to make it do more specific code things, but it's definitely better at sort of general until you really push it towards that. And Aaron, did you manage to measure your studio? No, I will do that right after this. Thank you for the reminder. Let me send you those details. I will do that right after this. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So thus concludes this week's live show. Like I said, if you want to hang out some more, you can always become a member of the channel. Below there's a join button, and you will get access to the community tab on YouTube, which gives you the access to the Zoom link, which we are going to be heading into right now. So if you're joining late, like Jason here, apologies, but you are you're gonna have to join us over there instead. Thanks for tuning in either way, and thanks for watching. I guess I will wrap things up with my button that I prepared here to play some credits. Thank you for all of you for watching, and of course to Jeremy, as well as Revolutionary Lightboards, Marlon, and Jim at Cloud Bedrock for being supreme supporters of the channel, and all of your faces for being here live, watching along. I don't know why I chose a slower time for the credits today, but I did. And that's that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. See you.